You see, in my growing days, we always come across certain people you look up to, consciously, subconsciously. Fortunately for me, I met people from a very young age whom I looked up to, who subconsciously mentored me and let me down, and then meet somebody else who again mentored me, not realizing that he is being mentored, but not directly as a teacher student, when we're telling you this is the way, not the way.
Did it my way, my story of love, loss, regret, and wisdom. With me, Mr. Rajan Lall and Nikhil Lall. Nikhil, I want to ask you about this title. When you heard of this title, I Did It My Way. What do you think of this title? And your reaction to it when Manju and they were talking about it, what was your reaction?
I mean, it's apt.
Apt?
Yeah, it's definitely apt because Dad's always been the kind of guy that he always goes in the direction that he thinks is correct, no matter the consequences. And I think that that's been his mantra all his life. And I think that because of the fact that I've seen also in life, personally and professionally, business-wise, that he's made those kinds of decisions, which are very daring sometimes, and sometimes very shocking to me. I'm like, wow, that's a crazy decision.
So you have done everything, I did it my way, but have you heard of anyone else or parents or any friends, mentors जिनके आपने सुनी है, you have people you listen to ever or no?
Good question, Gaggan. You see, in my growing days, we always come across certain people you look up to, consciously, subconsciously. Fortunately for me, I met people from a very young age whom I looked up to, who subconsciously mentored me and let me down, and then meet somebody else who again mentored me, not realizing that he is being mentored, but not directly as a teacher student, when we're telling you this is the way, not the way. It is by observing. I have a very great sense of observation. And I don't know whether you noticed it, but I observe people very closely. And I've reached a stage where in 5 or 10 minutes, sitting with the person, I get to know कि ये आदमी कितने पानी में है.
That's the wisdom part.
Yes,
that is the wisdom which I have learned over the years out of experience. So when all this happened, and I was working for Bayer India after being thrown out of SIBA. I was working. That was my first job. I got after my college, because I passed BSc, वो भी copy करके pass हुआ था. तो 35% या 39%, तो मुझे कौन नौकरी देगा? So fortunately, my uncle was the governor of Goa, Mr. Nakul Sen, who is Ambika Soni's father. So my dad called him up and he said, ये बेटे को नौकरी चाहिए. Well, I know Gautam Sehgal, who is Nayanthara Sehgal's husband, Pandit Nehru's sister, married to him. So he said, I'll talk to him. So his office of SIBA was exactly opposite our building, Prem Court, the Royal Insurance Building. Just cross the road and you're there. That is fine. So I went for an interview and met Mr. Gautam Sehgal, and he gave me the job. And he said, Mr. Nakul Sen has strongly recommended, your uncle. And so I said, do I have the job? Yeah, you have the job. Your salary will be 1,500 rupees a month. I'm talking of 69, 70. Big money.
Big.
When I met my colleagues, all the others were MBAs from Jamna Bajaj Institute of Management, first class, toppers. and I'm the only third class copy pass, BSc. And being inexperienced, there were three divisions: the pesticides, the pharmaceuticals, and the cosmetics. So they put me into cosmetics division. So I was working in the cosmetics division, and those days there was a toothpaste called Binaka, which was Binaka Green, Binaka Fluoride, Binaka Rose, Binaka this. And there was massive advertising campaigns, so I met all the advertising agencies. And with the advertising agencies came the glamour and the shoots and everything. And then they had a very popular program called Binaka Geetmala. And from Radio Ceylon
Amin Saini.
in those days, with Amin Saini. I had the fortune of being with him and working with him for the 1.5, 2 years I was with him on Binaka Geetmala.
Oh, wow.
And became close friends. Suddenly I started getting phone calls. Yeah, Rajan, हमारी picture है, उसको गाना अंदर डाल. Because those days, a song in Binaka Geetmala was instant success.
Yeah.
So I started getting into that zone of not
Spotlight.
caring zone. And then going to office late, having late nights with the advertising agency people, this, that. And I never drank because I'm a teetotaler even today. So just having fun, going to office late, baap ka kaam hai. So one fine day, after all this happened, my boss, Mr. Sehgal, called me. He said, Mr. Rajan Lall, are you going to leave or should I fire you? So that was my first shock I got. Said, what do you mean you can't fire me? My uncle is a governor. He said, of course I can fire you. So he said, you decide whether you want to resign or should I fire you? I said, let me think about it, I'll get back to you. मैं घर गया, phone किया, uncle, he's firing me. बोला तुम बेटा नौकरी resignation दे दो, ठीक है. So I went to him and I said, sir, I would like to resign. Okay. I was out. After that, it was a big shock to me to be thrown out of a job like SIBA. Then my dad again talked to my uncle J.C. Jain. He said, बेटे इसको दिला, ये बड़ा तकलीफ वाला घटिया सा टाइप का बेटा है, ये कुछ करता है नहीं, सारा दिन मौज मस्ती करता रहता है, उसको मजे करने उसको कुछ. There was a gentleman called Mr. B.M. Ghia. He was the chairman of Bayer India, a pharmaceutical company. So he talked to him and I went to meet them, their German bosses, for an interview. And they were in Nagin Mahal in Churchgate opposite Gaylord, above Berries. And I interviewed them, everything. I got the job, obviously because of the influence, not because of my qualification. So they put me into the rubber chemicals division. And then we moved to Express Towers at Nariman Point, and I took my job very seriously, because I was thrown out of the first one. So I started working till 6:30, 7:30 in the night I was working, showing my bosses that I'm really working. One day my German boss calls me and he says, Mr. Liedtke, he says, Mr. Lall, why are you working so late? 6:37, do you have a lot of work? I said, yeah, Mr. Liedtke, I'm loaded with work. And they used to take their bag at 5:15 sharp, they used to be out, gone home, 9 o'clock, 12. He said, Mr. Lall, you are given 8 to 9 hours to work every day. We come home at office at 9 and leave at 5:15. If you are sitting here till 7:30, means during the daytime you are faffing around. You are sitting down having coffee, chatting, this, that, and not doing your work. That's why you are sitting late to finish your work. If I see you here after 5:15 tomorrow, I'll fire you. मैंने कहा यार ये कैसा जॉब है, एक तो मैं ज़्यादा काम कर रहा हूँ, मेहनत कर रहा हूँ, ऊपर से बोलता है I'll fire you because. मैंने कहा that taught me a lesson. That when you are given a time 9 to 5:15, the Germans are hard taskmasters and disciplinarians. I started working, and in those times I realized that in the middle I was faffing around. I was sitting having coffee with a friend, lunch thoda आधा घंटा late, that was. But that taught me a lesson that You have to finish the work given to you in the time given to you. These were subconscious motivators. So these are subconscious. आप मोटिवेशन की बात कर रहे हैं ना, तो मेंटोर ये सबकॉन्शियसली मोटिवेट होता है. आगे जाके जब after that, when this gentleman from UK came in, Mr. Sabharwal, who became my mentor, whom I left my job of buyer for against the wishes of my family, parents, everybody, just to jump into a business which I didn't know. And he said, he told my dad, he said, "Ye beta mujhe de de, I want to put him into business." Not knowing he had ulterior motives that he wanted his daughter to marry me. And that time I was going around with Nikhil's mom, Aruna. So I gave up the job. I said, yeah, let's start business. Why not? I'm 21, I can afford to take a risk. What the hell? So without telling anybody, I left my job and joined them. When this happened, all hell broke loose, everything. So he put me into a job and paid me the same amount, 1,500, 2,000, but introduced me to a new line of business which became my career, which became my future, not realizing. He became my mentor. He was a man I remember was wearing a suit, tie, smoked a pipe, and I picked up the pipe from him at the age of 21 and I started smoking a pipe. And I used to smoke it till now. That became my
habit,
trademark
style
kind of thing. I used to smoke a pipe because Mr. Sabharwal. And then he used to have crisp 100 rupee notes in his pocket. And wherever he went, "Hey, beta, yellow, servants, drivers, beggars on the road." I was very impressed with him, man, personality and all. He used to work as a typist with my father and uncle's company in Pakistan. And when partition happened and my parents came to Bombay, he went to Birmingham in UK and set up a business there of a garment business called Lee Mount Garments and made a success of himself. And after 14 years, like Vanvas Ramadhan, he came to India looking for my dad and came and touched his feet and he says, I've become something in life. And then he met me, he was impressed. He said, "Yeah, give this son to me." We were looking for a match for his daughter. So I joined him. Everybody was gone crazy. Operating from home, I was the cook, butler, Rajan, Dhobi. सब खुद बिल बनाता था, चालान बनाता था. His mother Aruna used to be there helping me. And we both started this whole operation making interlining for collars. We floated DHJ, which was the American company, and started floating. Now, cutting the story short, this all happened between 71 to 76, 77, something like that. And the children were just born, he was small. Then he moved me to Delhi. He said, set up a factory in Faridabad in Delhi. I set up a factory in Faridabad for him in Delhi. When everything was set, to cut the long story short, there are a lot of episodes that happened which have been mentioned in my book. He brought his son inside in the picture. He said, "Beta, ये तुम्हारा छोटा भाई है, इसको सिखाओ थोड़ा." बोला, "हाँ अंकल, सिखा दूँगा." I taught him the business. One fine day I opened the paper, Indian Express, and found my name in bold letters. Mr. Rajan Lall is no more Managing Director of DHJ Interlining India Private Limited. Anybody dealing with him will be doing so at their risk and cost. Small ad. मेरी ज़मीन पाँव कितनी से निकल गई. Now where to go? If I go home, my father will tell you, "I told you so." Uncle will say, "I told you so." My complete world fell apart. Now you're talking of mentoring. This man backstabbed me and slapped me in the face because I did not marry his daughter. And I got married to Aruna, Nikhil's mother. He couldn't do anything. But after putting his son in place, he overnight got rid of me. My father and uncle being influential in India, we filed a suit against him and the person he was dealing with, the Madura Court's managing director at that time. And we won the case. And the company came to me with zero balance inside, Coakley, nothing. So you want the company? Here's the company. Now the only thing that I learned in that time was I'd gone abroad and got trained in the art of making interlining. You know what interlining is? Interlining is what we call bakram.
Yeah.
A collar में जो interlining होती है ना, जो fusing.
Yeah.
So that was what we were making and selling. And in India, the technology was not there. I knew the technology, I knew the formula. It was like a Coke formula. I knew the formula how to make this. So I was thinking of coming to Dubai. अब क्या करें? बाप के पास जाऊँ तो वो तो सीधा झापड़ मार के बोलेगा मैंने तेरे को बोला था अब तू भुगत kind of thing. So there was nobody there to guide me. दुबई चले जाएंगे. Everybody was going to Dubai in those days. और कुछ नहीं चलता चलो दुबई चलते हैं. So I went to my customer, one of my customers, very old friend of mine, Kiku Samtani. He was a garment exporter. He told me, Rajan, what are you doing? I said, I don't know what to do. I'm thinking of going to Dubai. He said, why? Start your own business. You have got clientele, you've got customer. मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है. कोई नहीं पैसे देगा मेरे को. So I cannot forget the day when he opened his drawer of the table and took out 10,000 rupees and put it on the table. He says, here's 10,000. Go and buy the fabric, process it, and supply it to me. So very good. He said, what should I name it? So he took out his pen and pencil and he made some lines and he says, call it ITL. I said, what is ITL? He says, it's inter-trim lining. It's interlining and it's a trim in the garment.
That's
So
how ITL
that's how
was born.
ITL was born. So I went to, next to my house was Bank of Baroda, I think. I put 500 rupees and opened an account with ITL as a proprietor.
ये बोलो बॉलीवुड स्टोरी है कि ना मेरी बेटी से अगर शादी नहीं करोगे कंपनी से बेदखल कर दिया.
तो ये अकाउंट खुल गया, पैसे जमा हो गए. अब कहाँ पे बनाएं? Who's going to process it? Who the hell are you? You can't go to a processing house and say मेरे लिए इंटरलाइनिंग बनाओ. तो मुझे याद आया कि चेंबूर में अंकल मिस्टर ओम प्रकाश जो एक्टर जो थे, he was related to us. My dad's brother was married to his adopted daughter, which was his wife's sister,
Okay.
Suraj. And Om Prakash ji and me, Om Prakash was a famous actor in those days, he was ruling Bollywood. He and me had a very close relationship and he loved me. So I went to his house in Chembur. He had a big bungalow in Union Park and first floor was full gaddas, white chadar, bolsters, और वो अपनी लुंगी और कुर्ता पहन के वहाँ पे शाम को उनकी मजलिस जमती थी. तो मैं गया, अंकल कहा बेटा क्या हुआ? कुछ क्या? मैं कहा अंकल एक प्रॉब्लम है. क्या हुआ? कहता है मेरे को एक प्रोसेसिंग हाउस में माल कुछ बनवाना है अपना जो बकरम जो है. वो क्या होता है? मैं कहा आपका एक दोस्त है. कौन? कहता है वर्मा मुखर्जी प्रिंटिंग कंपनी न्यू बॉम्बे में. वो आपका दोस्त है, मुझे याद एक दफ़ा मिला था आपको. उनका प्रोसेसिंग हाउस है. बोला हाँ है. कहता है ठहर जा. और वो गाली के बगैर काम बात नहीं करते थे. तो उसने फ़ोन उठाया, ओए PC MC जो भी बोलना था, वो ऐसे आ जा. तो भाग के आ गया. 2 मिनट में बाजू में रहता था. बोला यार ये मेरा बच्चा है, उसको कुछ करा के दे. वो पता नहीं क्या कुछ कपड़ा वपड़ा कांजी वांजी लगा था, पता नहीं, मुझे कुछ नहीं करना है उसको कर, कल से चालू कर दे काम. कहता है सर मेरा प्रिंटिंग का काम है, मेरा प्रोसेसिंग है, मैं ये कांगी सब डिफरेंट प्रोसेस, मेरे को नहीं पता, तेरे को बनाना है बस, ख़त्म हो गई बात. हाँ जी. तो मेरे पास एक वो टूटी फूटी एम्बेसडर होती थी, तो उसमें मैंने माल ख़रीदा, डिक्की में डाला, न्यू बॉम्बे जाके 2 दिन रह के आया. वहाँ माल बनवाया, ब्रॉट माई फर्स्ट लॉट आउट, और इनको बिल बना के हाथ से सप्लाई करके चालू किया. He paid me the check back. उसके बाद and the rest is history. तो ये जो मेंटोरिंग की बात जो हो रही है कि ये एक सबरवाल था जिसने मेरे को बहुत कुछ सिखाया और पीछे धक्का दे दिया. आज मुझे वो मिला करीबन 15 साल के बाद मिला मुझे बेंगलोर में वेस्ट एंड होटल में अपने वाइफ के साथ. दे वर वांटेड पीपल बिकॉज दे हैड अरेस्ट वारंट्स फॉर देम. I bumped into him in West End Hotel in Bangalore where I had my office, and I met he and his wife, Suman. His wife's name was, I forget, Suman was his daughter. And I went and touched his feet. And he was shocked to see me, his face went because he had arrest warrant, he's not supposed to be here. So I said, Uncle, how are you? Fine, thank you. मैं आपका शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ कि आप अगर मुझे बाहर नहीं निकालते धक्के मार के, मैं आज ये नहीं होता. थैंक यू वेरी मच. ही वाज शॉक. क्या बोल रहे हैं? मैंने कहा कुछ नहीं. थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर व्हाट यू डिड टू मी एंड दैट इज़ व्हाट मेड मी हु आई एम टुडे. सो दैट इज़ व्हाट मेंटोरिंग इज अबाउट. इट्स नॉट टॉकिंग से भैया ऐसे करना चाहिए. दीज आर मेंटोर, दीज आर लेसन्स यू लर्न इन लाइफ.
इनडायरेक्टली आप सीख लेते हो. निखिल, एक चीज़ मुझे पूछनी है आपसे, कौन सी क्वालिटीज़ आप में हैं डैड की जैसा लगता है कि आई एम लाइक माई डैड इन दिस सीन? लाइक कुछ क्वालिटीज हैं जो कि
yeah, lots.
Please tell me about it.
You know, I was very big into music.
Yeah.
I was DJing in college in the US and stuff like that, and I came back and I started my own small business and a record shop and throwing parties, clubs, similar to what I guess Dad did way back in the day. And I was like, we were the biggest promoters through the biggest parties in Dubai. Trilogy for 14 years, opening party, closing party, rooftop parties. So all of those qualities, I think, is, all the parties qualities is definitely Dad. And while working, I used to come to the office in the daytime. And then in the evening, I used to go and do my music thing and promoting and doing my club business. And Dad never stopped me. I think he never stopped me was because he kind of saw a little bit of him in me.
an artist?
Yeah, like this guy is doing some passion project on the side. Chal, good, let him do it. And then I invited him to the Chill Out Festival. We had 4,000 people. We had Erica Badu, one of our biggest events. And he came in and I saw like he came in and he was like, wow, you're a serious guy. So that was so that kind of qualities of how Dad used to do business, but also the Bollywood and music on the side. I think we're almost the same in that manner, and I think that I saw that I got that from him, and I was able to carry both the business and the passion projects and stuff like that. So, and I think in life I'll continue to be that way. I think that business will always be in my DNA, but I'll also do passion projects that make me happy, on the side.
He was just telling us about, whenever you marry someone, you should meet a girl's mother.
Yeah.
So did you follow his instruction?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did that happen? How did you share with him about your affair and that you plan to get married?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely took his advice because I definitely met his...
Before he met his wife, of course, he was around, which I'm happy about. He went around with different women, everything, and I told him just sow your wild oats and pray for a crop failure.
Crop failure.
What a dad.
So that I definitely took into account. I got married late because I definitely didn't want to make the mistake he made, which marrying early. So I got married at 35, 36. And I met with my wife and I was eager to meet with her mother because of what Dad had told me. And honestly, after I met her mother, I was like, yeah, this is good. Her mother was wonderful.
Her mother is wonderful
woman. So
wonderful.
I heard there's a funny story about two different people, like two states, different family meeting.
My wife's a doctor.
Okay.
Very serious family. Her father's a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
So very serious guy, very serious family. And Dad's like exact opposite. Like laughing and joking all the time. And this guy is all serious. He's about history and India and all that stuff. And, they were coming to Dubai to meet the parents.
Yeah.
It was like the Meet the Parents episode. And we were getting ready. And I told Dad, I said, Dad, I was preparing him. And I said, Dad, no bad words.
Which is very important.
Very impossible
Very
with Dad, yeah. It's like,
No
no
MCBC.
MCBC, just let's keep that under control. And Dad, when he meets new people, he always has the joke, right? And the joke is always, non-veg joke.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I was like, Dad, no non-veg jokes, all right? No jokes. Let's just keep it, kosher. So he said, yeah, I got it. It's all good. I know, don't worry about it. I understand. So we went out for dinner and he was, his charming self and everything was fine. And then, he's like, oh, I have a joke. And I was like, oh my God, here we go, right? And even my wife was like, oh my God, this is going to be bad. Mm-hmm. He, said a very nice joke, which is a totally vegetarian joke, which was like, wow, this is pretty good, mm-hmm. right? And then my wife's father said a joke, which was slightly non-veg. And I was like, wow, that's interesting episode, it's kind of turn of events. And then finally, I saw him in the corner, and Dad was smoking a pipe at the time. And whenever Dad smokes a pipe and he's thinking, there's a lot of smoke.
Like comic book, no? That thinking mind, yeah.
So I'm sitting in the corner over there, and I'm like, this guy is thinking. Like, what is he thinking? And I knew he was thinking about some joke, right? That's going to be pertinent for the situation. And then the floodgates opened, and then the negative, like the non-veg jokes came out, and that was actually quite fun. And he had a really, really nice time, and everything was really good, and they got along well, and everything was good. But it was fun. It was a fun time of having two completely different people come together, and Dad was very comfortable.
Before we end this episode, one quality you want to change about your dad, because you're talking about a book and his life.
Yeah.
A lot of good things he spoke about, how he deals in business and all that. But one quality you would like to change in Mr. Rajan Lall, your father, what is that?
I think that Dad has the thing of he listens to too many people around him some of the times. And sometimes he, gets influenced too much by certain people. He's very trusting as an individual sometimes. And I think that's sometimes I wish that would change. Like, he should, like, if he would be like, I trust this guy, so I shouldn't listen to this guy, rather than having to listen to multiple things. In this life, we have multiple people telling us lots of different things in our ears, but it's important that sometimes you just kind of stick to who you trust. And that's the one thing that I hope that he would be able to change. Like, know who you trust, listen to him.
Do you agree?
I'm 76, I can't change. I am what I am.
I'm 76, I can't change. This is the last line of this episode. Thank you so much.
Yeah.